Disturbing audio has emerged of a phone call between a Russian machine gunner and his mother, who took great pleasure in laughing about the torture and murder of Ukrainian civilians. The call, intercepted and published by the main intelligence Directorate of Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, was shared by a soldier of Russia's 11th Army Corps, identified as Konstantin Solovyov, and his mother Tatiana Solovyova. After a brief exchange of small talk and jokes about taking food from local villagers near Kharkiv, Solovyov quickly begins describing, in graphic detail, a variety of heinous torture methods used by members of Russia's security service, FSB. Some of the tactics included the 21 roses, stripping the skin back from a man's fingers, toes and penis like the petals of a flower, and the barrel method, when a line of barbed wire is inserted into a prisoner's anus via a tube before being slowly and painstakingly ripped back out. Solovyov, whose unit is deployed near the Eastern Front in Kharkiv according to Ukraine's MOD, also explained how he and his colleagues in the FSB beat an old man to death for taking photos of Russian troop positions, and excitedly recounted conversations he shared with a prisoner whose legs he had broken to prevent him from running away. When asked by his mother whether he enjoyed taking part in the torture, the soldier replied, "I like it. I don't know." Incredibly, Tatiana responded in kind, "I always told you that, in principle, I'm holding myself back. If I had ended up there I would also be enjoying it. We're the same." Solovyov also said he felt not a smidge of regret for his harrowing crimes, alleging Ukrainian forces would do the same in his position and because some of the captives did not give in to their torturers. He later added, "I'm not even feeling remorse anymore. After more than 20 murders, I stopped feeling anything." Tatiana meanwhile appears to offer her full support for her son's war crimes, at one stage of the conversation directing an expletive-laden tirade at Ukrainian civilians for resisting the Russian abuse before later joking about her son breaking a man's fingers so he can't point or pick his nose. Ukraine's MOD published a link to the pair's social media profiles along with the unedited audio of their disturbing call. The profiles have since been deleted. Solovyov is said to be aged just 20 years old, having been born in 2002, while his mother is aged 50. The unsettling conversation, initially published by the Ukraine's MOD on May 3, is one of several in which Russian soldiers have admitted to committing grave war crimes on Ukrainian soil. Widespread reports of rape, torture and brutal violence carried out on civilians first began flooding out of Ukraine after authorities discovered the horrors committed in towns north of Kyiv such as Bucha, Irpin, and Borodyanka. Survivors who witnessed the tragedy unfold in their communities before the Russians withdrew to focus their assault on the east of Ukraine told of how their countrymen and women had been treated with savagery by the invaders. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the Russian army as the most barbaric and inhuman in the world in light of these accounts, and said Russia will be stained as a source of absolute evil for generations. A Russian passport will mean only one thing in any country: unequivocal condemnation from all decent people, Zelensky warned in April. The Ukrainian leader also drew a number of comparisons between infamous Nazi leader Adolf Hitler and Russian President Vladimir Putin in a 15-minute-long video published yesterday to mark the day. The Ukrainian MOD's main intelligence directorate has also intercepted calls between Russian soldiers and their families in which the invaders open up about the true scale of the losses suffered by Putin's troops on the front lines. New figures published at the weekend by the Land Forces of Ukraine suggest that more than 25,000 Russian servicemen have now been killed in action since the invasion began on February 24. The Kremlin, by contrast, has not given any death toll since early in the war, when it admitted that several hundred of its soldiers had died. Western estimates put the scale of Russian losses somewhat lower than the figure given by Ukrainian authorities, but well over 15,000 of Putin's fighters are thought to have died. On Sunday, it came as Russia lost its 39th high-ranking officer on the battlefield. Lieutenant Colonel Solovyov, 36, was killed in a skirmish near Ukraine's second city Kharkiv, where Ukrainian forces have mounted a counter-offensive to take a number of nearby towns. An intelligence update posted on Saturday by Britain's Ministry of Defence said several of Putin's senior commanders are being forced onto the battlefield to take personal leadership of operations due to faltering Russian performance on the front line. Advertisement.